Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Ashley Dash, founder and CEO of Resume ATM. I am so excited to be here with you guys today for today's training, today's final installment, step 3, right? I'll say step 3, part 3 of our 3-part series, Stop Doubting, Start Living, 3 Secrets to Your Career Breakthrough. Now, if you guys have not seen the first 2 sessions, trainings, you should definitely go check those out. I'll put those links in there for you guys to access that. We're not going to do an overview of those. I'll mention what they are, but we're going to jump into the third secret of your career breakthrough. So step 1, phase 1 is really about getting clear and having clarity of your mind and clearing the clutter. And if you haven't done that, making sure that you healed from your work hurt, your past trauma, so that you can move forward in a very powerful way. So that's what we talked about in our first session around the 3 secrets to your career breakthrough. The second secret we talked about was actually having a profitable resume, and that mindset shift and how you show up for yourself and how you demonstrate who you are and what you've done in a very particular way, using your resume, your online brand, and of course, having those conversations. And you can check out more information on a profitable resume in session 2. Session 3 is actually, I believe, my favorite session because it is all about one of my favorite things. And I believe the key and the secret truly moving forward in a very powerful way. Specifically, I'll say in my case, when I'm talking about 6-figure positions and having really cool jobs so you can experience career freedom, is around action taking action, getting things done, having a strategic plan that you actually implement, right? This is all about implementation, all right? So the third secret to your career breakthrough is saying you're going to doing what you say you're going to do. If you're ready to look for a new position, look for another job, update your resume, make more money, start a side hustle, have a conversation, jump on LinkedIn, do a headshot, whatever you wrote down for your action plan, whatever you actually completed, right, is going to be the difference between you and someone else. Okay, I wholeheartedly agree. I understand, particularly for many of us, when I say us, I'm going to say us, people who jobs don't come naturally in terms of getting them, already having that built-in relationship. Feel like you have to start from scratch, not having maybe the same education level as other people. For the folks like myself, where job searching is actually a process, it's not something that is easy. It's not something where you're selected. I know someone. I don't have any, nepotism to use. For those of us who don't have that, and here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with any of that. I want to be very clear. If I had a family member or friend or someone I know in a position of power and authority and I'm qualified, you have to understand that I do not think there's anything wrong with that. I'm going to make a phone call. That's the goal of having a network, is having relationships, right? Where that you can get through to get what you need, right? Specifically when you know you're a fit and you're qualified, right? I think what's most important for us to understand and for us to know is that when those steps aren't available, when those avenues are not available, you and we can still be successful. We can still get things done. And we can do that by actually having an action plan and taking action. And there's a variety of ways in which we can do that. Okay. And one of the things I want to walk through with you guys today is actually an action plan. So if you give me a second, let me pull it up, and then we can do a deep dive and walk through of what this looks like, what this sounds like, and really how to really move forward in a very, very powerful way. So let's see here. Sorry, guys, I have the little theme music happening right now. I thought I already had this pulled up, but it's not showing up. Let's see here. I might just have to walk through it with you guys without having it pulled up. And if I do, that's fine. But I'll make sure that I put this, for those of you who are part of the Experience Career Freedom community, you guys will have access to this document. Okay. And what this document is simply a way to help you understand how to create an action plan and how to do it in a way that makes sense. I've shared this. I've actually used this for a while. I use this for years. And essentially, it's all about identifying the gap. Okay. And when you do action planning, the reason why anyone's doing action planning is because there's a difference between where we are, right, and where we want to be. That's as simple as that. I am doing an action plan. I am making a strategic plan. I am moving forward and taking steps to do something because I'm not exactly where I want to be in life. I'm not exactly where I want to be in my career. I'm not exactly where I want to be in my salary. And because of that, right, I want to make a change. And the best way to make a change is to do it via a plan. So I will share the template with you all and we'll walk through it. But essentially, the first thing you need to do when we're talking about taking an action plan is to have a goal, right? And to be very clear and specific around that goal. I know many people are tired of hearing about SMART goals. You probably guys are overwhelmed. Some of you have heard this since grad school, since maybe your bachelor's program, even in high school, they talk about SMART goals, okay? The reason why everyone talks about it is because it's so effective. It just works, right? It just works. Having a goal that is SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, right? And timely. Realistic and timely. It just works. It just makes sense. I know for a fact, and I have documented that. I have my own case studies for myself and for my clients. When clients write down their SMART goals and they write it in a very, very powerful, write it down and take the time to do it in an intentional way, not to, I'm going to say it this way. Sometimes we do exercises for the sake of doing exercises. We do it because it's a check mark. It's something that we can do. When you spend the time to be self-reflective, to be honest, and to really be open to the process and dedicate time, create the time, find the time to do these exercises, they show up in transformational ways. And many people feel like, oh, well, it's just journaling or it's just writing down. If you approach it from that way, that's all it will be for you. But if you take the time to be open, to be reflective, it is essentially a life-changing transformation that can and will occur if you give it the space and the time. So the first thing you want to do is write a specific goal, write a SMART goal. And when we're talking about careers, I want you guys to be specific. I want you guys to know, I want job titles. I want to know how much money you want to make on an annual basis. I want to know if this is a remote job or a hybrid job. If it's hybrid, where do you want to work? How big is it? Obviously, I want you guys to go all out. Make it clear and make it plain, right? The more details you provide, the easier it is to find, right? So the first thing you want to do is write a goal. What do you actually want? After you write your goal, the next thing you're going to do is write down where you are. The easy example to use for today in terms of taking action and making a strategic plan that you can implement is to use money, right? Money is a very uncomfortable topic for many people. Most of my clients know that we talk about it all the time intentionally because it's very important and we think that it needs to be discussed, right? We know that it is so important. So we start there. We start in the uncomfortable space. And the first question, one of the first questions, not the first question, but one of the first questions I always ask all of my clients, if you've encountered me or a member of my team, is how much money do you want to make? Right? How much money do you want to make in your career? Like in your next position, how much money do you want to make? And I physically want you guys right now to write down this number. If you guys are walking through the worksheet in the Excel file, not Excel file, it's not an Excel file, it's a PDF. But if you're walking through the PDF, there's a place for you to document this information. But if you're not, it's okay. Oh, and if you want access, there should be a link below. If you go to bit.ly, that's bit.ly/dr-tips. That's DRDASHTIPS, right? All lowercase, bit.ly/Dr-tips. You can get access to the template I'm talking about and also the other resources that we provided previously, and everything else we're going to share during September, which is International Update Your Resume Month. Okay, so the first thing you're going to write down is how much money do you want to make? And I want you guys to write down a number. $60,000, $40,000, $20,000, $250,000, $1 million, whatever the number is, write it down. This is not a place of judgment. This is from you. What do you want? Many of us didn't grow up in a space where we got to get what we want. So oftentimes we're uncomfortable with thinking about, reflecting, or writing down what we want. But I want you to actively do this with me right now. Okay. If you're going to make 6 figures, then you want to make $100,000, right? $115,000, $85,000. There's no right or wrong here. There's no judgment. Okay. Once you write down how much money you want to make, the next thing I want you to do is to write down how much money you currently make. Okay. Again, this is not a place of judgment. It is okay. Right? Many of us want that number to be higher, right? I don't want anyone to feel shame or embarrassment, or you're going to be a little uncomfortable, but don't shame yourself in this process. If the number is 0, then write down 0. It is okay. I've done this exercise many, many times in my career. And there have been several times in my career where I've been unemployed, my business was not making money, and the number I wrote down was 0 or 5 or 1,000. Like there's no judgment here. This is simply information. I want us from a career perspective to remove some of the emotion from what we're feeling, right? Because we should have already handled that, and make logical decisions based on data, facts, figures, metrics, right? And one of the ways we can do that is by starting here. So write down the salary that you want. And I'll use myself as an example. There was a time in the past where my salary I wanted to make was $100,000. I wanted a 6-figure job. At the time when I wrote that down, I was unemployed and I was not doing any, I didn't have a business going. I didn't have an income coming in. So the number I wrote down, how much money I currently have, was 0. Bank account wasn't looking great. So like there wasn't anything there, right? Once you do that, you can plot that on the chart. Again, if you have access to the template, you'll see that. So you plot down where you are compared to where you want to be. And then you can draw a line, right? When you draw a line between the 2 points, I want you to make a circle. Okay, circle that line, right? That is your gap. Okay, so we talk about closing the gap. That is the gap in which we are referring to specifically for you in your career. We're talking about careers and new jobs and things like that. Okay. So maybe your gap isn't, money. Maybe it's time or geographic location. Maybe you're trying to get to a certain place or a certain industry, right? Whatever the gap is fine. It's just easier to use this example when we're doing this as a group of numbers, because everyone kind of understands salaries and numbers and stuff like that. Okay. So once we have identified our goal, right, we have assessed where we are, we have written down where we want to be, we now have the gap. It is the gap in which we create the action plan that we want to implement. Okay? And it is from this place where we ask ourselves the questions on how do we close this gap? And everybody's answer to this question will be and should be different. Okay? I'll give you guys some examples. We talk about closing the gap in your career in terms of money. Some people can go from 0 to 6 figures, so from 0 to $100,000, right? Personally, I have done that, so I know that it is possible. Is it the simplest process? I'm going to say probably not, because it takes a lot of emotional wherewithal, right, to stand in your power, to know what you deserve, although life circumstances isn't reflecting that in your life right now. Okay, it is possible, but it is difficult for some people. So maybe the goal, right, isn't to jump from 0 to 100,000. Maybe the goal is to go from 0 to 50,000, or 0 to part-time work, or 0 to 75,000, right? Or look at different industries. Okay. The goal that we want when we're identifying the gap is to make a list of 7 to 10 items that we can write down, action items that we can do to move the needle forward. We don't have to move it all the way forward, We just have to move it forward a little bit. Okay. That's all we actually need, just a little bit. Okay. So if you want a new job and you're currently at 0, right? And you want to get to 6 figures, what are some of the things you need to do, right? Action steps I can do. Well, the first thing I probably need to do is get clear on what job I want, right? So I can write down the job title. I probably need to start networking again, right? So I probably need to start meeting new people or re-engaging the other older people that I haven't chatted to in a while on my list, right? I probably need to dust off that resume, right? I probably need to get my resume looked at or reviewed, right? Or updated, right? Those are 3 things, right? That I said just off the top of my head. Okay, in terms of action steps, probably need to write a cover letter or get prepared for cover letters, right? Probably need to do some job searching, take a look what the market looks like, identify where I want to live. Am I open to relocation? Do I want to move across the country? Do I want to move across the world? Right? I need to make those decisions, right? Probably look at my budget and see, how much money, can I live off of? Like, what can I make work? What does that look like? Okay, so budgeting would be something that I would do in terms of action item. I might want to talk to someone, right? I might want to talk to someone like, Dr. Ashley Dash, if you're executive, looking for executive coaching, I offer that. Maybe you want to bounce some ideas off of someone, right? Maybe you don't have the time to do this. You're like, you know what? I know I need this, but I'm in a very personal, life is lifing, right? The personal things happening in my life. I don't actually have a lot of time to dedicate to this. It needs to get done. How do I outsource that, right? So maybe you want to use a service like what we offer for Resume ATM. There's no right or wrong way to move forward. The goal here is to continue to take continuous action until you get what you want. Which means if it doesn't work the first time, that's okay. There's another action. There's another action. It's another action. You take the very next step that's in front of you until the path is made clear. And sometimes when you're looking at jobs and job searching and doing action planning implementation, the path isn't that clear, right? You don't really know what you don't know. But what's important for you to understand is that you have to take the first step. Okay? Maybe I am getting a lot of rejection emails, right? Can be part of the process for some people, right? So the next question is, okay, so why am I getting rejection emails? What should I do next? Whatever you think the next step should be, do that. Right? Maybe the next step is maybe I should have someone look at my resume. Maybe I should change the type of jobs I'm looking for. Maybe I should change the location. Okay. The goal of action planning, right, is to write down a list of things that you can do and check them off in a strategic way to prove to yourself and to share with others if they ask, how are you doing this? How are you managing the process? Why isn't this working? Because as I always say, career coaching and landing new jobs and salary, it's a very emotionally driven process. It can be a very emotionally driven process. And when we think with our emotions, sometimes we sometimes miss the logical steps that people can easily see. So if I share with someone, yes, I'm looking for a 6-figure job. I've applied for so many jobs. I'm not hearing anything back. I don't know what's wrong. I now have information that I can help you. It's like, oh, well, what kind of jobs you're applying for? Oh, let me take a look at your resume. Or, oh, like it gives me a place to start from and to know that you're actively looking to move forward and to change your life, but something is not working. So let me help you, right? And typically when you're taking the action steps, I know that for many people, myself included, and maybe some of my clients from the past, the action that you take sometimes doesn't feel correlated to the result that you want, right? So sometimes a person saying, hey, I want to, catch up and have lunch, she feels very like, I don't have time for that, right? I don't have time to do that. I'm dedicated to my job search, as opposed to looking to as an opportunity to reconnect with someone in your network, to have lunch, to catch up and see what's happening, right? I've had times where conversations have led to jobs that I did not intend, right? That the goal was not to get a job or get a job offer or to be honest, or move to Japan. Many of you know I moved to Japan. I learned a lot, but my intention, to be honest, of landing my position in Japan was never actually to move to Japan, right? I'm going to be very transparent in that process, my thought process. I was looking for a position at the time, and I applied for this position. I think it was located, I think the job posting said it was in Atlanta, But if you read the job description, it said something about it being located in Japan, or something about being in Japan. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's fine. I remember thinking, I'm never moving to Japan. And I applied to that position anyways. That was the action. The action was, I'm going to apply to jobs that are fit for me. I'm not going to apply for a job that's kind of interesting to me. I'm only going to apply for positions that I would love, like my dream jobs. So it's only like 3 or 4 jobs I applied to. I don't know if it was 4. I think it might have been like 3. There's only a few jobs that I applied to. But this position, I applied to it because it was my dream job at the time. It just, the location wasn't where I wanted to be. But I was open to relocation at the time, just not Japan. So then when they responded to me and started the conversation about interviewing, in my mind, I was like, oh, this is great. I still had no intention of moving to Japan, but my intention was to get connected to the HR professionals, to the recruiters, to the hiring managers, to have conversations about what other opportunities existed within the United States with the organization. Okay, that was the intention in which I moved forward, right? So when we started having conversations about moving to Japan or doing all these things, to be clear, I never had the expectation that I would ever move to Japan. And it wasn't that I was wasting anyone's time, because I was very interested in the job, but I just wasn't interested in moving to Japan. And that was actually an interview question that came up during the process. It was like, well, why do you want to move to Japan? And I remember being very honest and saying, I actually don't want to move to Japan, but this is my dream job. If you guys want to move it to America, I'd be happy to start tomorrow, right? But the job is in Japan. It was at that time I said, I'm open to moving to Japan. And it was that kind of conversation that actually got me to move to Japan. I didn't think I was going to move to Japan because I just didn't think that at the time. I guess maybe I had some imposter syndrome. I'm not really sure. I just didn't think that I would be moving. I just think that I would be selected for them to relocate me to a foreign country, just because I had never experienced that before in an organization that I wasn't previously a part of. So I know I've been part of organizations where there's expat assignments, there's impat assignments, people move around, things like that. But that's when you're already part of an organization. At the time, I wasn't part of that organization, so I didn't think that was likely to happen, which is why I had the thought process. But my goal was to get to the decision maker to learn about other HR opportunities, because that's what I actually wanted to do. So that's what I mean when I say take the next logical step, right? Sometimes the step you take, you don't know what path you're going down or what it's going to show in terms of your fruition, but it's the implementation, it is the actions that you take that changes your life, transforms your experience, and puts you on a path that you never even knew existed, right? Because I applied for this job, because I took the time to be thoughtful about the types of roles that I wanted, it literally changed the trajectory of my entire life, not just my career life, right? I became a doctor in Japan. I finished my doctorate degree there. I met amazing people. I got connected to an international HR community. There are so many things that came as a result of this experience that I could have never predicted. My current position that I hold, I got because of my experience in Japan, right? There's just so many things that have been life-changing and life-affirming in the most positive way, all because at the time when I was unemployed, wanted to make 6 figures, I created an action plan and implemented it, and decided that, you know what, this is the job that I want. And even though the location is wrong, the job is right. I'm going to apply anyways, because that's what my action plan says that I should do. Okay, does that make sense? So I think it's very important for all of us that regardless if we're looking for a new job or not, if we're looking to make more money or not, whatever you want to do to improve your life personally and professionally, is that you take action. Taking action is the third secret to your career breakthrough, right? Taking the implementing and doing what you say you're going to do is the breakthrough. And the breakthrough can and will show up in amazing opportunities and experiences if you let it. Okay? So that is today's training. That is the information. If you want the template I'm talking about, the 6-figure worksheet where you work through your gap, and you want to kind of walk through that process, you know, in black and white and have that form in front of you, if you go to bit.ly, so bit.ly/Dr.Tips, there should be a link below. Definitely check this information out. And if you need support in your career, if you don't have the capacity, if you need help, if you need support, then I encourage you to sign up for Resume ATM. Okay. And what Resume ATM does is essentially an online, I call it job concierge. Okay. So all the hard work, all the things that most people hate about job searching and applying for new jobs and landing something new, my team, we actually we think it's pretty cool to do resumes. We think it's pretty cool to find the job matches. We think it's amazing that we can help you change the trajectory of your life. Do you need someone? So if you're looking for an organization, a partner in your career success to simplify the process and do the logistics for you, we are here to help. We will make sure that when you customize your resume, it's going to be wonderful, it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be a match for what you actually say you want to do. We're also going to make sure that we send you job matches that you're interested in, job matches that you're proud of, things that you actually would want to do, right? And if we don't get it right, you can let us know and we're going to get it right for you. We're going to make sure we send you the right information, the right types of position for the things you actually want to do. And I think what our favorite part of it is, at least from our clients, from what we've heard, is that once we update your resume, once we make sure we find the right job matches for you, we'll actually complete the applications for you. It's an automatic application process, and we'll take care of those logistics for you. So you don't have to spend 45 minutes every day applying for jobs or looking for these things. We can handle the entire process for you. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go to resumeatm.com and become a member. And for those of you who have questions around the investment, our investment is $50 per month for the month of September for International Update Your Resume Month. In October, the price will be changing, so just want to give that a heads up. And there's no minimum in terms of you have to be with us at 3 months or 6 months or anything like that. You can start with us and stay with us if you want, as long as you want, or you can leave. I mean, after your month is over, if you feel like this isn't what you want. But we are here and we are dedicated to helping you simplify your career growth and to really provide a resource and support for you. Okay. If you have any questions, definitely put them in the comment section. Let me know that you were here. Until next time, I will see you guys on Friday when we talk about how to do your career well. Until next time, this is Dr. Ashley Dash, founder and CEO of Resume ATM, and I cannot wait to support you in the future. Bye-bye for now.